Okay.
On you, Brother Fleming.
Okay. Well, dear beloved brothers and sisters and brothers, welcome to MAP5, a program designed to remind us of our Muslim American power that we have here in what's called the wilderness of North America. Assalamu alaikum. I'm your brother Fleming El-Amin, the current president of American Coalition for Good Government, and I'm honored and privileged to have as co-host today, of course, our beloved sister Amatullah Alaji-Sabrie. I always mess up her middle name. I apologize. So forgive me.
Alaji.
Thank you so much. And the Honorable Dr. Cheryl Sudduth, two distinguished scholars, and to a great degree, I'm going to say influencers, community of Muslims in all of North America, and perhaps beyond America in one context. But today is, of course, by the grace of Allah, July the 13th, 2026. And today we're going to have as a theme, inshallah, civic engagement is required for cultural preservation. I repeat, civic engagement is required for cultural preservation. And we have invited 3 distinguished guests, and we're going to hold that thought right there because we'll let them come on before we say anything else about that invitation. But as we always do, let's start off with a prayer, thanking Allah for being here and being with life instead of being viewed. Today we're above ground, so let's be appreciative with the Al-Fatiha, which is the first chapter in the Holy Quran, which is our very book that Allah has blessed us with for all mankind, actually, all human beings. So let's start off with the Fatiha. If you join me in your position of prayer, whatever it might be. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge in Allah from the influence of Satan in my life. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Translation of Yusuf Ali Abdullah, we simply say, with the name of Almighty God, Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise, Allah, the Lord and Church of all the worlds, merciful Redeemer, merciful Benefactor, Master of all the systems of knowledge. Thee to be served and aid we seek. Show us the straight way. Well, those who have blessed with thy grace, not those who go astray, nor those who incur thy wrath. Amen.
Amen.
All right, it is raining over here in North Carolina where the sun rises every day. A little rain helps the gardens grow, so I will not complain. I'll just enjoy the sound of the rain as I look through this window.
Is it a heavy rain or?
It's not too heavy. It's a little light. It just picked up since you said that.
Okay.
But it's nothing like watching the rain, you know, from the inside out sometimes. In fact, I sit on my front porch, get a little closer, put my flowers out in the rain and let them get a little wet. It's just a beautiful spiritual uplift for me to see the rain drop like that. So I pray that everybody's doing well today. We're blessed to be here. So let's be thankful for the little things, even the rain drops. We, inshallah, will have our grand icebreaker by our distinguished Dr. Cheryl Sudduth. Now, she is wonderful, talented in that area, among many things. But we're going to give it over to her to give us our little icebreaker for July 13th, 2026. Sister Cheryl?
Hola, hola, hola.
Hola.
God, Monday morning. It is not raining here on the West Coast.
Not yet.
Because, as Tony says, it never rains in
California. Uh-oh. Oh, man.
You're on mute. For some reason, you went on mute.
You went on mute, Cheryl.
You want us to
finish that song?
Yeah, I didn't do that. I think Fleming's little ghost did that. He didn't want to hear the rest of the song.
Put it on the brother. Put it on the brother. I get thick skin. I can handle it.
We need the rain, but you know, and word is we may get a dry thunderstorm. Go figure.
Mm. Mm.
Dry lightning is
Yes,
a
yes.
you know, it's a phenomena that only happens every once in a while, but we will see how that happens. And I just don't want it to happen while I'm in 30,000 feet in the
Yes.
air. Later today, I drove a flight. So today, before we start the question, or maybe should we wait to after the questions to talk about the news of the moment?
Yes. Why don't we do it after the question? So much happening in the news.
I know. And you know I want to get
So
to that
much.
news about your Carolinas.
Oh, yes. I do
The
too.
political news.
Uh, I,
Can't wait.
uh,
The fire line dancing got some new characters.
Hello.
So so let's see. What number? I let Miss Martha choose last time. So who gets to choose the number? Well, Brother Fleming, you're hosting, so let's let you choose on this 13th day of July. What number would you like, sir?
Let's go with number 7 today.
Number 7. Lucky number 7. Let's see, we got 3 number 7s. So let's do this one. An insight.
Okay.
When do you feel most like an outsider?
Mm.
You chose the number, I didn't.
But you've been sticking to these insight categories the last month or so.
Well, you know, I like to tickle your neurons a little bit.
Okay.
When do you feel most like an outsider?
My natural instinct is to always be comfortable wherever I am. But I recall feeling like that, believe it or not, when I was in Benin, West Africa. Really, for the first time in my life, I really felt the coldness. I would get up early in the morning and go to make prayer. So the second time I went to this huge place, all these minarets up in the sky, up on the hill, and I walked in, mosaic on the floor, and it was fabulous in terms of appearances. But when I walked in that place, it was as if I walked into Jim Crowism all over again from the South. No one said a word to me. No one gave me the greeting. No one inquired about who I was, etc. I said, I will never come back in this place again. You know, it was a total cold reception. And it still says to me today because I can understand the men having any kind of Muslim character and not welcoming a new person into their sanctuary. So that was the most dramatic time that I experienced that. But growing up as a child, because of my grandfather's influence, I always feel good about myself, no matter where I went. So you'd have to dig real deep in me to make me feel like an outsider. I wouldn't accept it. I am here because I belong here, and there's nothing you can do about it. I got to make a comment about the picture of Thurgood Marshall. You know, one of the best pictures I've seen of him was in the Supreme Court. There's a magnificent, beautiful picture of him, the best one I've seen actually, in the Supreme Court, and it gives you a good history about his background, etc. But I read a lot about what he has done over the years since then and got about 3 books on his life. I segue for a minute. Let me get back to the agenda. That is my insight in terms of
Thank you.
when I feel, like an outsider.
He throws me off sometimes too. He's one of my favorite people. So
Yes, yeah.
Ma'am, madam.
Well, Brother Fleming took us to the spiritual heights, and I'm going to go right down. Who had that song, Down Here on the Ground? I forgot.
Okay.
I think,
Yes.
didn't Lou Rawls sing that or something?
Yes, yes, he did.
Down
That's
here
part of
on
it.
the
Lou Rawls.
ground.
That's exactly
Down
right.
here on the ground.
One of my
Okay.
favorite singers.
When do I feel the most like an outsider? If I go to a beauty parlor where they do your hair. I have always felt uncomfortable in that situation from a child. I can remember. My mother had a beautician, and so I begged her that I could go, and I was so sorry when I did. It just seemed very, I've just never been comfortable um, in that environment. People are, when you have a beautician who's doing your hair, and then the other women are looking, and sometimes some of the conversations just throw you off. So that's when I feel the most as an outsider.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that one.
I didn't think about it until Fleming started talking. I don't know what the connection.
Connection is.
My neurons must be off this morning.
Oh,
But I
no, they're
try
right
to think
on.
of when I felt the most or feel the most uncomfortable. Still today, as an adult, I don't
Interesting.
particularly like that environment.
Interesting.
My second choice would be at some concerts. I might feel like an outsider.
Interesting. My grandmother was a beautician, so I grew up going into her shop, so
Mm,
shops don't bother me.
those
I like
shops,
it.
they
I like it.
can.
You get to hear all the good stuff.
Well, see, that's what I mean. That good stuff sometimes is so crazy and out there
Mm,
that I don't
mm.
feel comfortable in that environment.
Yeah, they used
And
to.
it just seems, I don't know, it seems, I guess maybe I have to go, maybe if I go to a Muslim beautician, I would feel more comfortable, but it just seems like the level of the conversations or the, it's, you see, it seems more competitive than what I imagine from seeing movies. Like the men have the barber shops, and they seem to have a friendlier, sometimes when it comes to sports, they may, have
Their banter.
real banter. The banter
Yeah.
is, but in the dynamic of the women's beauty parlors, it's just seems like a lot of envy comes into the environment, and
Interesting.
that's what makes me feel uncomfortable.
Um, on that, I just want to say, I think where I grew up in my grandmother's shop is where I just learned a lot of wisdom. So it wasn't that kind of environment that you described. I just learned a lot of wisdom. It wasn't like gossipy or so. And maybe it's because she is like the Christian, like the mommy of the mother of the church kind of thing. So you just
Mm,
learned a lot of when you hear me say, my grandmother used to say, my grandmother used to say, okay, that's where I sat. I used to sit and read in the corner because I like going out in the sun. It was just too hot a lot of times in the
mm.
summer.
Well,
So
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it's
Well, I will say that the last time I went, um, I had an experience that I can only say that Allah was in it, where I felt directly that Allah was in it, because I had been thinking about, when you mentioned your grandmother, I had been thinking about, and maybe when I put this out there, maybe someone will contact me. I was thinking about my grandmother. She was born in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
mm,
Hmm.
And so I don't know anything about her family roots there. And before I had gone to this one particular uh, woman to do my hair, I had thought about I have to really follow up with trying to trace that part of my family history. Um, because and it seems like this comes in cycles with me. I had and one time, I think there was a news report or something about a police officer in Spartanburg, and his last name was Little John, which was my grandmother's last name. And I'm like, how many Little Johns can there be in Spartanburg, South Carolina? I should try and make a connection. When I went to this beauty shop, there was a woman and they were talking about, oh, where you going to go this summer, girl? Oh, yeah, I'm going to go down for the family reunion, blah, blah, blah. And I said something about, oh, where is it? In Spartan, South Carolina. She said, oh, yeah. I said, well, my grandmother was from South Carolina. And so I said her name was Little John. And she said, oh, well, a friend of mine, they're Little Johns and they're having a family reunion. So I contacted the woman, um, and even spoke to her mother, but she had no reminiscence. So if there's any Little Johns out there from Spartanburg, South Carolina, give me a call.
Mm, 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 mm.
I'm gonna
Sometimes
get down there eventually.
get that connection.
That connection.
That connection. All right, audience, it's your turn
I don't
to
see
answer.
anybody. I don't see anybody rushing to put their hand up. Come on
Right.
now, put your hand up.
Oh, there's
There's
Muhammad
Muhammad
Sharif.
Sharif. Oh, Muhammad.
Muhammad Sharif. When do you feel most like an insider, sir?
Outsider.
I
You
just
thought it was the
Outsider.
outsider.
I just got on a couple. Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Walaikum
Alaikum
assalam
assalam.
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, I just got on a couple of minutes ago. You know, our prayer comes in around one. You know, so I always make the prayer, and then I come on.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, so what's on the table?
So, question of the day is, when do you most feel like an outsider?
What? What? And outside, I guess I have that. Outsiders for what?
Just
What's
period.
it?
This your interpretation. When do you most feel like an outsider?
Well, you really want to know the truth.
Yes, sir. I want to know the truth. The TRUF, truth.
Sometimes I feel like an outsider.
Go ahead, say it. You won't hurt our feelings. Go ahead and say it, Muhammad.
On in Imam WD Mohammed's community sometimes. I feel like an outsider.
Mm.
I guess you want to say, why would you say that?
No.
Oh, I could
Go ahead.
understand
Oh,
that. I
you're among
understand.
friends, blame me. You're among brothers and sisters on this show.
Right.
Go right ahead.
I think maybe it's because I'm probably one of the seniors along in Imam Muhammad's community right now. One of the seniors. And I'm 85 years old.
Mm.
And the way I came to the community, how much time do I have anyway?
2
Well, we're
minutes.
on
Just
for 2
about a minute or
hours.
so. Yeah, we got to, not too long, sir.
Right.
Wow.
You got another hand up behind you. So,
Okay.
go ahead.
I will let that hand go because I got a whole lot to say. Let the other hand go.
We ready for it.
Got to come back to our brother. I want to
We're
hear
going
what
to
he has
come
to
back
say.
to you. We're going to come back to you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Alhamdulillah.
Sister Manira, go ahead, sister.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum to
Alaikum.
everybody.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalamu rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah. I remember when I felt it the most and when it was the most painful for me was when I embraced Al-Islam
Mm.
and came back home. Um, and it was very hard at that time. I left home at 17. I was not ready to leave home. Wasn't planning to leave home. Went away to Champaign, Illinois to go to school and came back a Muslim.
Mm.
And I was introduced like in an alien like way. So okay, yeah. This is Ballard's youngest daughter. She's a Muslim now. She don't eat no pork. Uh, she don't eat no pork. What do you mean she don't eat no pork?
Stop, Manir.
My daddy, like, yeah, she ate everything but the oink growing up. Now she don't eat no pork. And I'm like, I'm standing right here. So it was uh it was that way for a long time. Um, but gradually it began to lessen and lessen. So and it finally ended when I went home and I had 6 children. and they were all Muslims. So we rolled out like a crew.
So you brought
And
backup.
I brought backup. I had reinforcements, yes. And so now the conversation is, oh, I fixed this for the kids, and don't worry, I read the labels. I read the labels. There's no pork in it, you know. And so it was just a different climate. It's like uh, they didn't forsake the family. They were born into Al Islam. So there was a level of acceptance for them and protection for them from my parents as Muslims. But that was the most painful time when I felt that way because it was my family. But then that also prepared me for being in the environment and workplaces and schools and everything where that type of uh, isolation didn't bother me, or I was prepared for that because it could never get any worse than when it's your own family, you know. So it was strengthening for me at the same time, where I knew it was me and Allah, you know, and that you see Allah bring you through that and then change circumstances around, so it reinforces your faith.
Yes.
And it was a growing uh, process for me at the same time. And for them, because after I came back Muslim, other family members started branching off. They said, "Oh, look at this girl, this story. Boy, Bobby done came home a Buddhist," or, you know, somebody else and switched to being a Presbyterian, you know. So it was a catalyst for change in the whole family.
You opened the floodgates, huh?
I opened the floodgates. All praises to Allah.
Sister, did you go to U of I?
No, no, that was my plan. Didn't get in time, so I went to Parkland.
Oh, I know Parkland. I went to U of I. That's why I asked when you said Champaign.
Oh yeah, yeah. I lived in Champaign. My older sister was there, so um, yeah. Because I hadn't applied to U of I, but when I found out my mother was sending me to Champaign to live with my older sister, I started applying to U of I. But I had been accepted downstate at SIU
Oh yeah.
campus, um, but you know plans changed quickly. So I'm really a lifelong student.
Yeah, no.
As I moved about and switched universities and colleges.
Every road is different. I love this story. I'm gonna tell you mine after Michael Hameen. Brother
Okay.
Hameen. Thank you, Sister Manira.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Brother
welcome.
Michael
Alhamdulillah.
Hameen.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
Alaikum
rahmatullahi wa
assalam.
barakatuh.
Yeah, I went to a program. I think his name is Albert Brooks. I was invited to this program. This uh, PBS commentator was at this university here in Jacksonville, and I feel most uncomfortable in crowds, but particularly crowds of large numbers of Caucasians.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Brother Fleming, it looks like Brother Jimmy is on. And
Okay.
before Mr. Small speak, I just wanted to say this. Listen, I can relate to Sister Manira, except with a little twist. Mine was I came to California and decided I wasn't going to eat. That's my family thinks that I came to California and decided I wouldn't eat, not just being Muslim, because I was Muslim before I came to California. That she didn't came to California, she's not gonna eat any meat, not just pork, any meat, because I'm vegan. But what they didn't know is I became I was like that in college. They just didn't know. they thought it was California that did this, that evil West Coast.
Influence.
Yeah,
That
that evil
woke
West, yeah,
influence.
that evil California influence and took away all the meat. Because, they eat everything. And the pig and the cow didn't do anything to them. So what's wrong with her? But I think I feel most uncomfortable around. I can also relate to Brother Muhammad Sharif, right? And I don't know if it's a discomfort as more as it's a confusion sometimes when people from, um, I'm gonna say not just WD Muhammad, but more people who speak about Nation of Islam who are in WD Muhammad, as if everybody understands what you guys are talking about. You remember when before we came, they start talking about the first, and you looking at them like, no, I don't remember when. I was either not born or I was 4. So I don't know what you're talking about. But some of you on here are guilty of it. And you'll talk as if we know what you're talking about. And we don't know what you're talking about. And there's an uncomfortableness with that kind of speech. It's like if people speak in acronyms, which is it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. And so I think I don't know if it's uncomfortable or peeved. I gotta put those two in the same kind of boat. But I think more than that, I'm more uncomfortable with Manera, and sometimes I'm most uncomfortable. Family sometimes it's a discomfort because they don't understand sometimes with some of the things they say. I don't know if it's said out of curiosity or just plain ignorance. Some of the questions about Islam or just being Muslim. Some of it's, I think, a mix of both. Yes, though.
Well, listen, we have
Did you want to ask him? Did you want to ask him, Brother
yeah,
Flynn?
brother Jimmy Small is on the program. He has a very limited schedule today from New Jersey. He's very busy there, and
Let's
I know
welcome him.
he has a limited amount of time to share with us today. But brother Jimmy, welcome to MAP5. We're so glad you're able to join us. We usually
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
yeah,
Salam.
you will listen to the icebreaker, which is always done by the Honorable Dr. Cheryl Sudduth, who's an elected official over there in the West Coast somewhere. She's very distinguished as a scientist
He
and a very
knows where we
intelligent
are.
young lady. And of course, this is Amatullah Alaji-Sabrie, the other co-host. Our theme, of course, for today is civic engagement is required for cultural preservation. And Brother Jim has been involved in New Jersey since forming the Muslim League of Voters, and even before that, and just involved intensely in civic engagement throughout the state of New Jersey. So we want him to have an opportunity to share some of his experiences related to that topic and just introduce us what's happening in New Jersey these days when it comes to politics, civic engagement, et cetera, and your specific involvement. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Assalam.
I've been involved in politics in one shape, form, or fashion for the last 46 years. I've been a part of the Muslim League of Voters since its beginning, which was 41 years ago. Our objective is voter registration and voter education. Currently, we're doing a course through Master Muhammad Newark and MLV on civic engagement. It's a 5-week course. We started it. The first session was this past Saturday, and it's going to be for 5 Saturdays. And we're going to talk, and then we're going to have to do as I'm finding out, we're going to have to do a civics 102 because 101. We may have to do a 102 as well because as we're doing the program, I'm finding out people have questions. They want to know what we're talking about. But the main thing that comes up, I didn't know all this was going on because we just finished about nonprofits, from a political perspective and what we normally do with other organizations and community service groups as well. Well, as I said, MLV has been around since 1985. It was started, it actually came out of something called the Muslim League of Voters in Chicago when Harold Washington was running to be the first black mayor of the city of Chicago, and he did win. Um, so Bilal Beasley, who was, I'd have to say, the first elected Muslim in New Jersey in a legislative position, he liked the idea, so he started an organization and called the Muslim League of Voters of New Jersey. And from that point on, we have been going all over New Jersey and sometimes out of New Jersey, promoting voting, promoting voter education, um, because it is so necessary. We also have set up coalitions with other Muslims, not just African American Muslims, other people where we deem something might be very important. One of our biggest highlights, I'd have to say, came not so long ago in 2023. We worked as a group, meaning the different Muslims, and we were able to get New Jersey Muslim Heritage Month. And it started, and it's each January. And the first one was in 2024, then 2025, and in this year, 2026, the city of Newark came on big time. Not to say that they weren't there before, but they did it big time. And we were able to raise the Muslim flag, because I think most of us know what that is, that was flown over the city of Newark's city hall for a month. We were able to work with our brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam. And we brought some kids in to see the workings of what happens in the daily in a city hall. So that worked. I'd have to say this. I know I might be jumping around, but I just want to say we now have, alhamdulillah, a lot of young sisters that work with us, and they are very, very helpful. They help us brothers get a lot of things done. Um, we are also, and because of that, we brothers decided, well, if the sisters can do it, we can do it too. Not better, but we need to do some things for the brothers. So we have something called the Brothers, and we meet once a month. And I'm president of the Eastern Orange, New Jersey Public Library Board. So being when you're HNIC, you can get things done a little bit faster. So we meet for a couple hours each once a month. We did it in May, June, and July is this coming Thursday. And we just have people come there and just talk and talk about things that are on the brothers' minds. But we always bring in a medical professional because lots of times someone needs help. Um, so we had a chiropractor come in, and then we had I guess you would call an internist, because he came in and that brother had a specific topic, but he just took questions, and they were very, very, very helpful. Now, what happened here in New Jersey? I'd have to say 25 and 26, and I think this can work any place else in the country. There were certain people in certain parts of the state that wanted to see people get elected. And I have to dare say they took some stuff from us, the MLV. So there was a young Hispanic woman that worked closely with the Muslim community, and she was elected in the congressional district that our new governor was. So they did that. And Newark, New Jersey got elected its first Muslim council person, and it went in the name of Amina Bey. I say that, and I say that for this reason. The reason those people got in, they happen to be two women, is because people worked hard together, put their money together. People from out of town came in, and they did those little internet commercials, all of that, and those people were able to get elected. And it just took a little extra time under New Jersey law. You have to go through a party convention, then you have to be elected temporarily, and then you have to run again in the fall, and see if you can stay on the ballot. And then finally, in the case of Analia Mejia, she's in there for, well, she's up now because it's 2 years. And then Aunt Amina Bass, I spoke to her recently. I said, Amina, you should be happy right now. I am, Brother Jimmy, because I don't have to run for 4 years. So that's good. And what we also do as the MLV, we go around the state. We make presentations sometimes in some very affluent Muslim communities. For instance, the name of this town was the Islamic Center of Basking Ridge. Basking Ridge is, as it sounds, a very affluent town. And we made presentations about what was Muslim Heritage Month, what people need to do, because it was at the beginning of the year also, what people need to do to get out and vote. We also went out to the Islamic Center of Hunterdon County, um, which is a place that kind of leans racist. But what we went there to do is to try to help get some people elected. I also serve as and I just got reelected to as ward chair. We have wards here in Essex County, and I'm quite sure you have that in other places. So I was reelected to my ward, the third ward in East Orange, New Jersey. I was also, and then there's also a leader of the particular ward, and I'm ward chair as well. I'm also co-chair of the New Jersey Muslim Democratic Caucus. Um, we're getting ready to put on a Zoom call soon, so we can just people can kind of just talk to some recently elected Muslim officials, or they're about to be in a primary. Because here in my county, we have a brother, Abdul Yassin. To my surprise, he was municipal chair in a town that you would not expect him to be. So he threw his hat in the ring, and being that my part of the county, well, actually his county is I wouldn't say navy blue, but it's very blue. So he won't have a chance. He will not have a chance of not getting elected. So Abdul Yassin is going to be. In fact, he's going to be my speaker this weekend at at the at this thing we do with each weekend. So he's going to be the speaker. Um, we also work with a group called the American Muslims for Hunger Relief. And to my surprise, a brother named Ghani Khan, he's a Pakistani brother, and what he wants is just people to come and get food that they prepare. This is prepared food, and we do. And there's a couple other masjids. One that comes over from New York City, in Plainfield, New Jersey, and I get MLV and American Muslim Hunger Relief. We get the food, we bring it up to Master Muhammad Newark, and you would think with all those sandwiches and stuff we have, you think it lasts. We're done usually in a half hour, 45 minutes, because people are in need of the food. Also, it's a good dawah tool. Master Muhammad Newark has been around because it used to be Temple number 25. It's been around a long time, and they have a new imam, because unfortunately, the brother that was the imam was shot and killed. You may have heard about that. I don't know if you did or not, but Hassan Sharif was a very, very good brother. So Imam Mujahideen is very, very good. He's got a lot of young people working with him. In fact, we had an event yesterday called Father, Son, Men and Boys. I was happy to see that little 14-year-old boy lead the Salat when Asa came in. So that's the kind of things they do. They have a strong Sister Clara Muhammad school that's on the weekends. So he's doing a lot, and we work with him as well. The MLV is about to embark on a project with the various faith communities to deal with some of this ICE situation that we have in New Jersey, Delaney Hall, where they're trying to bring our Congresswoman up on charges. If they try to boot her out of the Congress, all we're going to do is put her right back in. Um, Monica, as I call her, Monica's a great congresswoman. She's already working with Analia Mejia, and the next district over, District 11, we're District 10. So all we're going to do is put it back in. That's all, because she's doing great. When she sees Mr. Jimmy is what she calls me. So As I said, she's very good. And she worked her way up the ladder. She was just like a district leader. Then she became Central Ward Council person and then Congresswoman. That she took Amina Bey took over her district. So what we did, she's married to a Muslim man, and so we it took Newark so long to get a Muslim elected, and it really did because I was elected in 1992, 93. Bilal Beasley was elected in 1988. Fahima El-Amin, who was the first Muslim sister to get elected in New Jersey. Um, and she's from our community, I might add. Um, they were before me because when I first got elected in 93, there were about 75 Muslim elected and appointed officials, and alhamdulillah, is a lot more than that now. So we as the Muslim League of Voters, also I gotta say this, we're gonna set up what I call voter registration week. And I think that's going to be the second week in September because September 15th is National Voter Registration Day, and September 18th is National Muslim Voter Registration Day. So I just want to combine the whole thing to try to get as many people out to register and vote. And I say that because what we also do, we go into the high schools. And I'm going to tell you all this, if you're doing this yourselves, wherever you may live, don't go in there with those voter registration forms. Go in there with a QR code. Because the kids are used to doing stuff with a QR code. They will do that right away. We went to a school that had about 200 kids, because it's a small school. It's because it's a magnet school. And we registered 150 of those kids one day. And before the summer is out, I'm going to try to track down whatever I need to do with the local school boards and or the principals of the school. Try to get us in those schools because it's very disappointing sometimes. Is why I hate to say this. Now, Newark, New Jersey, passed a law about 3 years ago where 16-year-olds can vote in a school board election. And unfortunately, we have to educate our youngsters that you got to vote. I taught in Newark for 30 years, and the kids would always tell me, Mr. Small, this school is poor. And we didn't have some of the things we needed. If I went back and got all the money I spent on science equipment over the years, I would be happy because I was a science teacher. So it hurt me in 2025, only 75 16-year-olds voted. Even worse in 2026, 45 kids voted. So what we're going to do, we're going to work with NAACP and some other community organizations to get these kids to vote because they got to vote. And there was also a new law about 2 years ago in New Jersey. If you're 17, you can, and you're going to turn 18 before the November general election, you can vote in the June primary. And not a lot of them did that too, because the Newark school board election, 3.2% of the people voted. Generally, for the primary last month, about 12% voted. I did a little bit of research. It's not, you can't find a whole lot about, but 25 to 40% of Muslims voted in the primary. We got to raise all those numbers. Those are too low. Because we as an African American community, there are many things that we need, and we're not going to get them if we're not voting. We have to vote. The MLV also works with a lot of interfaith groups. We work with the Newark Interfaith Alliance, obviously in Newark, but a lot of people like what they're doing. There's a sister named Reverend Councilwoman Louise Roundtree. She says, and this is true, I'm the only person I know I can get Christians, Muslims, and Jews in the same room, and she can. And we work together. We work with another group called Faith Allies, and we have one objective with that group, and that is reparations. New Jersey was one of the last states to end slavery. A lot of people don't know that. There was a law passed in 1804 that said we're ending slavery, but it had one proviso. Slavery would not end until the last of the slaves died, which was in 1866. So between 1804 and 1866, black people were still enslaved. New Jersey's also noted for this. If you name a town, and this is not good. You can tell what is the major demographic there. So if you name East Orange, New Jersey, where I live at, we're not like 98% black. I go to another town, Livingston, New Jersey. It has two major groups, Jewish and Indian. You go to a place like Fort Lee, New Jersey. That's where the Weather Channel comes out, by the way, folks. And most of the people over there are East Asian, mainly Korean. That's not good. That's because discrimination is still going. So those are the kinds of things we're fighting, and we're going to continue to do our work to make things better. And if you're in the business of doing voter registration and whatnot, contact the National Voter Education Voter Registration Week. Get some stuff. Use the 18th of that same September as Muslim Voter Registration Day. But continuously do voter registration. Never stop. Even if you go someplace and you get one or two people to register, that's one or two more people that are voting that weren't. Now, so for instance, tomorrow here in East Orange, I'll be working with the police. Not just me, the MLV, because they're doing something like I think a coffee and a cop or something like that to get people out to register to vote. Voting is extremely important. Um, as we like to say, vote like your life depends upon it, because it does. I'm looking at Brother Fleming on my screen right now. I like his Take 5 program. We're going to start doing something like that or something similar to that. Anything that you can be done to get people out, alhamdulillah, get it done. I see Brother Michael has his hand up. Brother, if you have a question, I'll do my very best to answer it.
All right. Before we go to questions, Brother Jimmy, first, thank you
You're very
for your
welcome.
comprehensive presentation. I don't know if you were aware that Tennessee has Muslims in the month of March. They've been doing that for some time. Every day in the month of March, they recognize to do some Muslim activity in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. And I've gone to them and participated in workshops, ACGG. It's a very effective program, and they have all the politicians involved, a lot of nonprofits involved. They've been doing that since I was regional director in the
Alhamdulillah.
ACGG. That's been years ago. But they've been very effective
I
out
know.
there. Brother Wali Shaheed, he still may be the imam out there, but he worked with us in ACGG for a number of years. But congratulations on all the work that you're doing there. If you could highlight one or two cultural preservation things you think we should put our attention on, we would appreciate it. Then we're going to move on to questions.
Highlight what I didn't quite hear it.
Could you highlight some of the cultural preservations you think are important for us to maintain in our community?
All right. One of the things I think works well in our community is a group called a Unified Eid Committee. And it's kind of like a misnomer these days because they do a lot more work than just unifying the Eids. That's one thing I can highlight. And the other thing, as I mentioned earlier, is when you want to get someone elected, everybody has to dive in and help that brother or sister get elected. It's like I told you about Analia Mejia and Amina Bay. Those are a couple things that I think. And constantly do voter registration. Take advantage of the times like the back to school nights that are going to come up at the beginning of the school year. That week, that voter registration week I told you about. Those are the kinds of things. So voter registration is one of the big highlights of MLV. So that would be the one thing I could say that really gets a lot of us moving.
But one thing, brothers and sisters, that our esteemed guest did not say, he's also coached for a number of years as a track coach. He's known throughout New Jersey in that capacity as well. With that said, though, let's recognize Brother Michael Amin. He has his hand raised. Brother Michael.
Sir, thank you. As Brother Jimmy was speaking, I noticed the repetition, perception, and focus on vote, vote, vote. And as I'm looking at it, it's a much broader, strategy necessary. But I realize that African Americans in particular, we're relatively new at a lot of things, and governmental organization and strategies is one of those, in terms of the not only the vote, but what do you do when you vote someone in and the lobbyists get them, having strategies to remove people from office that are not serving our interests, transitioning from being what Imam Abdul Alim in Philly says, you transitioning from being the sage on the stage to the guide on the side. And, you mentioned working with young people, but, the preparing of them and the being more strategic in terms of a fuller program for governance, and not just voting. You keep hearing vote, 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 but there are other things involved, like lobbying. Brother Fleming has made us aware. Going to these political offices and finding out not only transmitting what we want, but also finding out how you can help those in these governmental offices. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're absolutely right. Um, Now, to remove someone from office, you have to get a petition drive, and that's that's something else. And right now, I'm going to say this: there's a lot of I'm going. This is one time I'm going to be a bit partisan. The Democratic Party right now is very divided, very divided. So much so where you have the David Hogg Democrats who want all the older people out and only young people. You have the Democratic Socialists, and they keep promoting the fact that Mandami, the Muslim mayor of New York, got a lot of people elected. He got 4 people elected. Let me just keep that straight. He's doing a lot of stuff, but I for one, I'm watching him. Watch because he's only been in there 6 months. So let's see what he does. Then you have Blue Dog Democrats, which more or less are Democrats in name only because they're more like on the Republican side. And then you have people you consider regular Democrats, or as the Democratic Socialists say, establishment Democrats. Now, Democratic Socialists are going to have to understand older people remember when socialists was, as Trump likes to say, the same thing as communists. We got to go back some. We got to go back to the 50s and 60s. Now, the Korean War started off that stuff, where the Chinese and the Americans fought, so it was the socialists against the Americans. And then you had that Bay of Pigs with Kennedy. I started with Eisenhower and finished up with Kennedy. A little thing. Then you 62, you had the Bay of Pigs crisis. Not the Bay of Pigs, the Cuban Missile Crisis, as they call it, where we were almost in a nuclear war. Later on in 67, you had the first Egyptian-Israeli war. Again, socialists against the United States, and straight on up to nowadays. They're going to have to explain that away to older people. I know what they're trying to do. Fundamentally, you want free medical care, you want better funding for schools, and that sort of things. Now, the Republicans aren't devoid of stuff happening too, because down in Texas and some other places, they kicked out some incumbents, and people so supposedly are for mega on the Republican side. So the country seems as though it's not so much wanting to keep an incumbent person in office. They want to bring in some new faces. But when you bring in new faces, you lose seniority. So a lot of these people that are coming in, you're gonna be a backbencher. You're not going to be chairman of some committee down in D.C. or New York State or wherever the heck you got elected. You are not going to be on a good committee to make some of the changes that Brother Michael had mentioned. And I do believe some of these people need to go out, but you got to also keep us there. Then I forgot to mention the baby boomer groups, which I am. You can't just say they need to go, almost to the point where some of the so-called Democrats want us to die. So, so it's a mess. I was with the Lieutenant Governor of New Jersey a couple weeks ago. He said Democrats always find ways to change victory into losing, and that is indeed a problem.
Mm.
But if you work hard, it doesn't always work that way. And as Brother Fleming said, I was a track and field coach for 35 years, and I was happy to say I was able to get some conference champions, some champions at the Penn Relays, which is well known here on the East Coast, and state championships as well. I was also a teacher of science, and one thing I required a principal that didn't like me, but she liked me even less when I was able to get the science test scores higher than language arts and math, and that wasn't supposed to happen. But at that time, I had 25 years of teaching, so it was easy. I hope that answered your question, Brother Michael. If not, I'll be a little bit more thorough.
Thank you very much.
Let me
Thank you very much.
ask a question.
Sure.
Yes, go right ahead.
So when you hear Hackensack, who lives in Hackensack?
Hackensack is in Bergen County. Um, Hackensack is one of these, I would have to say, diverse towns. A lot of African Americans, our Caucasian brothers and sisters, Jewish people, and others. But they haven't been able to get a Muslim elected over there just yet. But we'll keep trying.
So you mentioned, thank you on that.
You're welcome.
I have some family in Hackensack, New Jersey. You said you started the civic engagement course and then you came to the realization you need to do civics 102 and then you went back to 101.
No, we're Civics
What?
100. That's what we're
Oh.
calling it.
Okay. So your social engagement is civics 100?
That's what we're calling it right now.
Okay. And from that experience, you feel that you need to do another, maybe higher level civics or foundational?
Well, we got up to nonprofits, and I gave a general overview of what are nonprofits, but we need to go specifically what nonprofits do, and in fact, even name some organizations and what they do. So that would be something like in a Civics 101.
Okay, so in the state of New Jersey, um, how would you, especially with your teaching background, how would you rate the state curriculum? Is civics still included in the state curriculum? And if so, do you think meeting the needs of the citizenry there in New Jersey?
No, I don't remember teaching civics before I just taught science alone. It needs to be added, and
Oh,
it
okay.
needs to be correct too. One of the things we've been fighting over is how Islamic materials are added to the curriculum. Now, students will get all the other religions, including Buddhism, all the way up to sixth grade. Then Al-Islam is brought in at the seventh grade. And we need to know that they need to know about the voting. I was telling them, voter registration, who to contact. Best thing like Mr. Rogers said, who are the people in your neighborhood? Because there's certain people that do certain jobs. For instance, there's an issue here because where I live at, one side of the street is East Orange, the other side is Newark, and we have an issue. So the issue actually encompasses both municipalities. So I got to contact the Newark council person as well as my own because I don't want what's happening to get even worse. So that's why your question is correct. Civics needs to be incorporated into the into the New Jersey curriculum. That's something I'll get with some other brothers and sisters and work on it because we don't have it.
And do you, my final question is, are you working with any groups dealing with the issue of voter suppression and trying
Yes,
to
we work
combat
with
that?
I'm looking at it. Can I read it from here? New Jersey Institute for Political Justice. We're working with the NAACP. We work with ICNA, ISNA, and CARE. And what just recently happened, I almost forgot to tell you all this. Um, the day before the 4th of July, the governor signed what was a bill that became an act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Because
Yeah.
like every place else, New Jersey has some schemes that need to be corrected as well. So we're trying to do that as well. We're trying to stay away from it is to put a stop to what you mentioned, sister, voter suppression. Um, and that's one of the ways it's going to happen. I got to study that law more so I can see what I can do to help institute it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Cheryl, do you have any questions you'd like to ask our guests? Honorable Cheryl Sudduth, before we go to the other participants?
Yes, a couple of things. Gracias.
De nada.
I had to join from my phone or whatever kicked me out of the other meeting. The So in California, they've passed a few laws similar to what's happening in New Jersey. I actually went to school in Illinois, and I worked on the campaign for here in Washington. He was my DNA donor dad. I was good friends with him. So, and he was also a politician. So I got to work on that campaign. But I also know that in California, we have the same law that actually at 16 and a half, you can register.
Really?
Yeah. And 17, you can vote in the primary as well. You can also vote in certain areas, San Francisco, Berkeley. You can vote in the school board elections as a student if you're registered to vote. But we also have collaborated with, and one thing that you may want to look into, anybody who's listening to this now or the live stream or later, collaborating with League of Women Voters.
We work with them.
I work with them, but working with them to establish the youth arm, which is what we do here. Berkeley, the one at Berkeley High, is an award-winning organization, and they do, instead of the adults coming in and doing the voter registration drives and making sure that people actually vote, because voter registration is one thing, but making sure they actually vote is another thing. And it is young people, it's their peers who are running the effort. And as I said, they've won awards for their success. They track it. So not only do they run it, they track it, and then they track the numbers. They look at the metrics afterwards to make sure that they're actually voting. So similar to what Brother Fleming was saying about, take 5 and whatever, they do it there. They do the mock elections, they do the mock debates, they do everything at the schools. They do it between other schools, between them and Oakland, and they take opposite sides. They pull straws to see who's going to have to be the antagonist, the protagonist.
You can cheat. You can cheat on that. Because
Yes.
what they used to do here in my county, they would put it would be a ping pong ball. They would put the when they wanted to win in the freezer, and they would tell the person that's got to pick it, pick the cold one.
I didn't know that part, so thank you for telling me. So now I know if they ever tell me to pick a ping pong ball, I know the trick. But yes, I think that teaming with organizations that are already doing it, and if you need information on, how we're doing it, especially with Berkeley and several schools in Oakland, I can team your LW Legal Women Voters up with the one in particular, I want in Berkeley, because it covers Berkeley, Emeryville, and Oakland. And that one has just been very successful in engaging the youth. Um, One of the things I did want to hear more about was um, this, because I also do a civic engagements course here, and just how do we make it more, and I try my best to keep it as nonpartisan as possible. It's not always possible. But how do we just make sure that we're balancing? I'm probably just as guilty as the next in trying not to push out, as you said, your generation, but at the same time, getting your generation to understand that you can't keep saying we want to bring in new leaders, but then nobody wants to move, because this is the only way we can bring in our generation and the generations behind us, is if there's places for us to go. And that's whether that's in politics or in our professional lives, is that we can't wait till we're 60, 65, 70 years old to move into positions of power and influence. And when the people in front of us are waiting till they're 85, 90 years old to get out of the way. And I'm
Or
just
die
being
in
as frank as
office.
I can. That's as frank as I'm going to be, is that, quite frankly, it is time for baby boomers to move into an advisory and a leadership role in that capacity. I'm not saying, I don't think it's time for people to die, but I do think it's time to move into another role. And that's what I'd always talk to Willie Brown about. He's an excellent advisor. He's an excellent guide. He's an excellent, let me be the kingmaker. That's the only way we can move to the next level, which then we can move out of the way and let, Gen Y, the 30, 40-year-olds, move into their entry level leadership, which leaves room for now. That's the millennials, Gen Y, for those who don't know. And then that leaves room to start training the Gen Z to move into leadership roles. Until that move occurs, we're going to have a dearth in leadership in the next 10 years. And we're wondering why people are getting into office who have no experience, don't know what they're doing, and don't know how to do it. And we're blaming them. No, I blame the people in front of us who act like they should never leave until they die in office, which just happened, which we still didn't get to talk about, Brother Fleming,
We're gonna
with
get
this
to it.
Lindsey Graham.
We're gonna get to it.
I want to
Yeah,
talk
because
about that. Listen, I know it hurts people's feelings, but that's what we're here for on this program. I want to talk the real. The real is we can't keep letting people die in office.
I agree with you about baby boomers need to be in an advisory position, because I'm definitely a baby boomer, but I also want younger people to take this over. We have a very dynamic, well, he happens to be my municipal chair, my county chair, and state chair for the Democrats. And he's doing just that. We have a young sister named Medina Muhammad. She's going to get elected, and she's going to be our third district county commissioner. So, because he's doing that, he's trying his best to move out us old folks. Because some people tell me, you need to run. I ran. I had my day. I ran. I've been on the school board. I've been on the city council. I'm still on the library board. And I told you about I'm on the state committee. Then the lieutenant governor wants me to be on some faith committee. And I said, no, we have it by no, we want you to represent the whole state. But I do know what you mean. We got to get these young people. I had one brother come to me. He says he wants to come under my wing. By all means, brother. And I got a sister, same thing. Both of them are about 30 years old. It's your time. It's your time to take this over. And us baby boomers do need to step aside, but I don't want to hear you talk about y'all just need to go and let us take it now. Because if you're going to come in there green, then you're not going to get a lot of work done. That's my only fear.
Yeah, Brother Jim, I would add two comments to that very quickly. I
Mhm.
think you and I were together in New Jersey when the census people were there, they were part of our ACGG workshop.
Yes, that's
We made a presentation and tried to get involved and even participating in the census. And it was a push, but it was an opportunity also for people to get involved in that whole process. And I worked with the census for a number of years, but I wanted you to comment on how important that is before you have to go to your next engagement, being involved in the whole census program.
there's one thing I'll say this, and I'll end it there. I don't know what it pays and wherever you're at to be a poll worker, but here in Jersey it's $300, no tax. So that's one of the ways you can get some of the younger people into, and you got to convince them that if you got to get up early and miss a day of high school, it's not going to hurt you. You get $300, no tax. Maybe it pays more where you're at or less, but that is a good way. I have a quick story. My block association, um, my treasurer, his daughter she wants to be a lawyer. So one of the ways she can be a lawyer, she started out as a challenger, which pays nothing. Then she became a poll worker. Now she works at the Board of Elections. She's making enough money so she can go to law school. So that is one of the ways we can get them in. And you got to call people. So I know social media and email and all that, but sometimes the phone works just as well, if not better.
Okay,
So,
I see.
Brother
ahead,
Philip, can I
Sister
please ask this quick question?
Sure.
So what you just showed was the person working their way through the system. But a lot of times, youngsters, they don't have an idea of what they want to do, and they don't have any knowledge of what are possibilities. So how do we increase their view of how can civic engagement give them a fuller life and offer possibilities in their life?
Well, that is one of our goals. We start school here in September. I know other places started earlier. That's why we want to get into the high schools early, so we can have people like myself and others come in and give a little talk to the young people, how and let them know this is a way to get through the system, and how you can be that person that you might be able to talk to your peers and get involved in the same work that we're doing. Because as I said, I'm 74. It's time for some of these young people to take over some of this stuff.
Just a note, Jimmy, I'm also 74. But in North Carolina, it's required to take a civics course. We used to have it in the ninth grade. We fought that as an association and moved it to the 11th grade. But this is a required course to graduate here in North Carolina. And I taught it for about 20 years, actually, civics and economics, and then African American studies. So some communities, yes, some communities have that as a part of the standard course of study. If you go to any state standard course of study from the state educational organization, you can see the list of courses that are taught from kindergarten through the 12th grade. And you have to pressure that group or that committee or that, however they're organized, to include that in the curriculum. A little pressure goes a long way in that regard. And I also want to just compliment you, Brother Jim, on all the work you've been doing historically. I know that when I was commissioner for Forsyth County, I would bring in students and let them be a day with the commissioner, and I would do it on a systematic basis. And then I would have the Divine Nine to send me someone on a regular basis in the organization, just to sit in my chair and see what it's like to be a commissioner, go through the process, go through the doors to see how decisions are made before we have the public meeting, etc. And it was very effective, you know. So you got to be organized to include others in that capacity.
I'm,
I
I'm
have a
gonna steal
brother.
that idea. Talk to my council people to let them do. I know they bring the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts in, but they need to get some of these high school kids.
Yes, it's important. You can't see this as well, but it's a group that we're working with now, Brother Jim. It's called Lift Every Vote. Can you see that? I'll read it. Hard to see. Lift Every Vote, Lift Every Voice. It's a non-partisan organization. There are about 6 different groups involved. At the very bottom, you see ACGG symbol. You have the NAACP, Divine Nine, Democracy North Carolina, and some others. And we formed the group because we had 18,000 people just in Forsyth County who did not vote 2 years in a row. We call them infrequent voters, primarily in our community. So what did we decide to do? Let's try to get 6,000 of them engaged this time into the early voting. Can we come up with a way we can all work together to make that happen? So we went to the faith communities, we got them involved, and now we're doing programs in the neighborhoods with people, elevating the importance of voting. Now, voting is the very first step. That's your first baby step. You got to be registered to vote. And one of the things we discovered so far, many people have not checked the registration to make sure it's still legitimate. And I say that because of this. If you don't vote in 2 consecutive presidential elections, they have the right to remove you from the rolls.
That
So
is true.
we're first trying to get people, go check your registration. Make sure you're still officially registered and do that process, number one. And then what are you going to do after you vote? You got to get engaged in some kind of community activity that you're interested in doing so you can see the end result of your vote. And that's a whole process involved. ACG did it for a number of years. We called it Politics 101. We put a whole curriculum together, and that was just convince people that it's not bad to get involved in politics. I'm going back some years now, because some of these idiots, pardon the French, they would sit on the sideline criticizing everything. Oh, it's so wrong. You should not be involved. This government is going to, I said, listen, brothers, I've been involved since I was 18 years of age. I remember reading The Fall of America before Elijah Muhammad was turned back to Allah. And so don't tell me about what that's, you got to be a constructive person instead of just a critique of what someone else is doing. So if you're going to criticize me, alhamdulillah, what are you going to construct after that? So let's work as a family unit, see the value in each other, especially when it comes to politics. We're family. And you don't just throw away grandmom and granddad away in the garbage can. You get what you can from them. You don't throw your uncle away and the auntie away because they ate some, but you learn from them. And then you take on the task if you can take it on with a sincere commitment to complete the job. So
we got to make
involved.
Yes, sir. We have to make ACGG, it's national in scope. It always started like that. We just got to increase it.
Yes.
So we can get in if we can get in all 50 states and 6 territories, would be great. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but we need to try.
It is to go. In fact, the Marvel Group and I are working together to have our 30th anniversary celebration next year, because Marvel started in 1997, ACGG started in 1997. So me and the commander are working on some things now to sort of kick that off, inshallah, for next year, to work together on a combined basis.
I'm a member of Marvel Post 5 out of Newark.
I know that. All right, our time is running a little short, so let's get
Brother Fleming.
Oh, yes.
Let me just ask. Mr. Smalls, let me ask you this. So when you bring in the speakers for the students, so CWSC has the community-wide share conference has what they call what do you call this? The intelligentsia,
intelligentsia committee.
The list of those the speakers. Right?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes, it's like a speaker's
model community national resource directory.
Yes, thank you, Manira. That's what I was trying to get to. That serves as the Speakers Bureau. And so what I would like is for and Brother Fleming is going to be a good resource for this, is that there's a lot of resources there that could be used, because I like what you're saying, bring in the students and bring in someone to speak to the students. So Sister Amatullah, I don't want to skip past what she just said, is that sometimes the students don't know what's possible, right? If they don't know what's possible, they don't know how to get to the next step and the next step and the next step. So if we can leverage, AM360 is not possible without CWSC. And so we should be using the resources that CWSC has. And if we can use those resources, which is what put a lot of us together, and we can use those resources to get to the students to say, we've got a scientist and doctor, we've got Sister Amatullah with all these amazing skills in dealing. She worked with amazing at one of the best institutions in the country at UC Berkeley, right? And she's an amazing meeting facilitator, and she's and we've got Brother Fleming, and we've got yourself, and we've got Sister Manira and Sister Martha. We've got all of these amazing talents, Brother Edward. If you can get them in front of these students, I mean, I'm on the East Coast probably once every month, 6 weeks.
Well, we'd
And
like to get you in front of some of these students,
I could, if we
especially some
can,
of our young sisters.
especially manage the schedule properly, is what I'm
Mhm.
saying, is that we can use these resources that are in front of us, to get in front of them. So I think we can coordinate that to meet what I heard, and Sister Amatullah, tell me if I didn't hear that correctly,
You
to
heard me
help
correctly.
bridge that gap. Did I hear
You
you
heard me
correctly?
correctly. You
Okay.
heard me correctly. Yeah.
Okay, to help bridge that gap, especially since you're already doing it. If we can do that, we can set up that model program and then duplicate it
You
across
know,
the
you know what
country.
I would like to do, because I know time is on us. I have put in the chat my email address and my phone number. So if you can forward me some of this information, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm going to steal some of the ideas I heard from you, because what you're doing up in Northern California, that's great. I guess that goes back to the 60s when they were very, very, very much out there trying to do things.
Black Panthers.
Black
Yes, sir.
Panthers, yep.
Yeah, we had it.
UC Berkeley, whenever I hear about that.
Sister Amatullah.
Mm, mm.
Yes. Yes, Sister Amatullah.
I,
Before my time, but hey, I benefited. I benefited.
Brother Fleming, thank you for having me. Um, you made my day, because I wasn't feeling well early in the day. Now I feel just fine.
We,
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
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 We aim to make people's day.
Well, you did.
Oh, thank you so much, Brother Jim. We really appreciate your contribution. You added a lot to our program, and you're always invited. Open invitation to come join us.
I'll try my best to get on. This just happened to be a Monday when I didn't have anything in my schedule.
Give my best to your brother when he comes back
I
from
most
Egypt.
certainly will.
Tell him that I settled the Nile River. It's a little dirty over there. I've been there several times.
All
People be
right.
shocked when they see the Nile River. Boy, they take you on a riverboat to have dinner. I was shocked they have belly dances on the Nile River. On the, I said, "What? I don't need to look at this when I'm trying to eat. Yeah, get away from here. Get over here." That's what they do for the tourists. Anyway, I had a good time over there at the pyramids and all of that. I had so I'm sure you'll have a good time over there too. That's a wonderful
Okay.
experience. They have that.
Brother Fleming, if Brother Jimmy has a few more minutes, I think Michael has his hand up.
Oh,
Okay.
I
Did
didn't see
not
that.
see it.
All right, Brother
Do you have
Michael,
a
go
minute?
ahead.
Yes, well, brother Jimmy, thank you for appearing and sharing. There's something about the water or something where this East Coast, in terms of organization and civic engagement, is just really out there. The tip of the spear, so to speak. But my point is, what this cross pollination and long term planning uh, is something that's necessary, and
Yes.
particularly for those who were sages. This is Imam Abdullah Alim saying, those who were sages on the stage becoming guides on the side. You know,
I heard this somewhere recently.
yeah, that's Imam Abdullah Alim out of Philly, and uh, again, we're young in terms of governance. This is, when you look at other people's history in terms of organizational structure and governance, we're relatively new, like this country. We're relatively new. So just keeping our vision clear and uh, valuing people like yourself and Sister Dr. Sudduth, value and Sister Amatullah and Brother Fleming, valuing the people, because for so long those people with the know-how have been levitating above the masses. You know what I'm saying? Our masses, and not connecting. But thank you again.
You're very
Assalamu
welcome.
alaikum.
And I want to thank all of you for having me. Now, inshallah, Brother Fleming, I'm going to try to do my best where possible to be on here on more Mondays, and also the ACGG meetings on Sundays. When you do politics, is 7 days a week. So, as you well know,
Yes, yes. Thank you again, Brother Jim. Really
you're very
appreciate your
welcome.
contributions and your
Assalamu alaikum,
dedication.
everyone.
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you.
Brother Jimmy reminded me of what I used to say to my students when I came into my classroom. I had a big world map covered almost 3/4 of one wall. At the very top, it said, "Knowledge is my friend." At the bottom, it said, "Ignorance is my enemy." And on one side, it says, "History is his story." On the other side, it says, "Where's your story?" But I wanted the students to start thinking when they walk into the classroom, not just to be a chairholder. But I would remind them sometimes. I said, listen, any organization that had any kind of effective program in this country, and you can look at other countries, it's the youth that sort of led the change in governments. And I would give them examples. I'd show them Wives on the Prize, et cetera, and how the youth was involved in some of those marches and got sprayed with those hoses from those vicious people in certain parts of the South. And I also remember, I said, listen, two of our most famous leaders that you know of were only 39 when they were assassinated. Dr. King and Malcolm Malik Shabazz. But they had done a lot of work before they ever turned 39. That's a very young age. They got involved in their 20s in a committed capacity. So don't wait sometimes. Just do what you think needs to be done. Find someone that will help you along the way, but don't be discouraged. And I would say, weight broke the wagon down because some of us can't see what you see. So do your thing, get involved, make a difference. Uh, in that capacity, though, I said we'd also spotlight something in the Constitution. I made that commitment in our last meeting. So today I want to mention a few things in that regard before we open up the mics again. I was looking at some of the preambles for various states, starting with that lovely state on the West Coast called California. I said, let me look at this preamble to the Constitution for the state of California. I looked at the one for Texas, looked at the one for New York, and I compared all of them, of course, to North Carolina. And for those that may not know, the whole Constitution, no matter which one you're looking at, only has 3 parts. You got an introduction called the preamble, which tells you why you have a government. In the federal Constitution, there are 6 reasons listed there why this government is here. Then you have the articles, how the government should operate, functions of the government. At the very end, you have things that have been changed in those 7 A's on some of those articles. So it's basically P, 7A, 27C for the federal Constitution. This is what surprised me. We all know about the preamble to the federal Constitution, right? Most of us know something about it. You hear the word "we." I'm going to read this, so I want you to remember this. The homework for next week. All right. And it reads as follows. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So within that introduction, there are 6 reasons, 6, why we have a government. And everything the government should do should revolve around one of those 6 reasons. That's the charge. Now, there's one word in the California Constitution preamble, New York preamble, and the Texas preamble, and North Carolina that really amazed me. There's a specific reference to Almighty God in the preamble. And when you read North Carolina's preamble, you would think it was the most holy people on the planet Earth. But all of them refer to a blessed obligation to fulfill the blessings from Almighty God in some capacity. So I said, wow. Now, North Carolina had to add something in addition because they were part of the Confederacy. So their new constitution had to include part of that in their preambles. They were, of course, abide by the Union, et cetera. But a lot of those state preambles all make an appeal to the blessings of Almighty God. Just let that sink in for a minute, How far have we moved away from that concept in 2026? And now we accept anybody who stands up and says, I want to run, even though you may have 34 felonies on your record, or you may be someone who put money into a refrigerator. I won't beat them down too bad. But you may have some other questionable characteristics of your character, but you still feel like you can go into office and run for an elected position. And I think we're going to have a shift if we're going to really do what we can do to move this country forward. We got to have a character, a presentation of someone we can rely on, and that hold those persons accountable. And there are ways of doing that, of course. Vote them out of office, for one. they don't do what they say they're going to do, and they get tied up in this. It's a systemic way of pressuring people once they get in office, especially going to the federal level. You got to run every 2 years as a congressperson.
Yes.
It takes money. So a lot of I've been around them for a long time. Many of them, the first 2 years they're in Congress, they learn where the bathrooms are. I'm being very facetious now. They learn their way around Congress. They don't sit on major committees. They try to get on a committee through the grace of the speaker to do something. But they learn the process the first 2 years. After that, they'll use a lot of their time just raising money. So their effectiveness as a congressman is very limited until they reach about their 8th year, when they're a seasoned person with some history and some expertise on those committees. But the heart of government comes from committee structures. It doesn't come from that single person saying he represents you. What committee are you working on to bring legislation forward that you can get support for to make a difference? And if you look at the record of some of them, many of them almost absent when it comes to voting because they're ineffective as a congressperson. So you got to really keep up with the voting records. And it's public information. It's nothing new. But you know who's hiding in the bushes if you look at the voting record and see they're absent on 6 votes that just took place, and they're not even present when the voting takes place. That's one thing to keep your eye on. But I want you to look at your preambles in your state. We'll talk about how those things got started. California over in the West was one of a lot of states that joined the union, so they got they came on board a little later. Those on the East Coast, we came on a little earlier, and those in the middle, they came on in between the two. But there's a little history behind those preambles. But let's do our homework. Once you do the preamble review, we're going to look at, the legislative branch of government, the executive branch of government, and the judicial branch, and we'll sort of highlight each one of those once, we spotlight one of those as we go forward. Today is just a preamble. It's just an introduction. As I said earlier, it's 3 parts of the Constitution: P, 7A, 27C. Yours may have 55 articles. Depends on what state you're in. You have a whole bunch of things
How
in there.
verbose you are.
So, so yours may be, the difference will be in the numbers, but the organization will be the same regardless. That's one spotlight on the Constitution. We've got to know our Constitution, brothers and sisters. ACGG has done Politics 101 for a number of years now. And every time we do that, someone always lets me know they have not even looked at the Constitution. Not to mention know something about it and how it impacts their lives directly. So I felt obligated to at least say something about the Constitution each time we meet. And we have a distinguished scholar even tying the Constitution to the Holy Quran. So on MAP5, there's no excuse not to know something about your Constitution. All right, let me get off my little box. What do you call it? Soapbox opera. I get off my soapbox. So thank you very much. And I'll let my co-hosts, the distinguished, participants have their say so at this point.
Well, thank you for doing that, Brother Fleming. That's good. I think that's a good reminder for all of us. If we're going to come under the rule of law, I'll put that in quotes, then we need to know what is the foundation for the rule of law and what are our rights in relationship to that. So I appreciate that. That was very good. So, Sister Cheryl's been chomping at the bit to have her say this morning.
I just want to talk about your friend in your neighboring state who's gonna be dancing with his favorite partner, because I know he ain't going to Glory.
He's going with Stone Farmer.
I don't have no proof, but I got his receipts for what he has done. And from what I understand, listen, I might not be in charge. I'm not the creator. But from everything that I have been taught since I was, my grandmother used to say, knee high to a grasshopper, them receipts are not pointing in the right direction for bruh man. So I want to know about your 71-year-old friend. And I say friend wickedly for anybody who might be watching this later.
Yes. Yeah, Lindsay and
I want to talk about him, and I want to talk about them other ones, because it looks like the devil is working overtime in getting his due. He done pulled up a couple of quite a few people over the last couple of weeks.
Mitch McConnell is one too. Can't leave out old Mitch.
That's what I'm
He's a-
saying. He came a knocking over the last couple of weeks, and he got
Yes.
some people scared right now. He got some people scared.
Yes,
Talk
it's,
to
you
him.
know what bothers me the most about that situation in South Carolina? There was a huge percentage of African Americans in South Carolina. Huge percentage. My mother and father, South Carolina, my grandparents. I cannot understand why they will allow that state to become what they call purple red. I mean, somebody's not doing something to get those people organized. I may have to take my hickory stick down there and just shake something up down there. But it bothers me to my heart to think that they're automatically going to put somebody in his place. I haven't heard them say anything about any real competition to challenge him because he's going to have to run in, November because it's an open seat. This idea they're going to assume that indeed that seat's going to be maintained because you know who he replaced, right? I'm sure you're aware of that. You know, the old guy who said he didn't like any of us, but he had a child by
Right.
one of us, looked just like him. Strom Thurmond.
Was that Strom Thurmond?
Strom Thurmond, yes.
Yeah.
And so he really, in fact, it's so ironic. And I was in part of the campaign to get Dr. King's holiday recognized, right? He sent me a whole package, him and Jesse Helms, why they can support that effort. I mean, a whole package, like a Red Express document, 200 pages almost, on why he was a communist. Da 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 da. That's a you scoundrel, boy, you know. But I have no sympathy. You know, I hope God forgives me. But that situation down there, you know, it's to me, it's trouble on two levels. First, what has he done to really help the people in South Carolina? From my perspective, absolutely nothing. And he's helped
None.
boys. You know, he's helped his boys. Now, his boys to those people who claim, oh, he was a poor boy in South Carolina who did good. He always comes back and speaks to us. He's always in the cafeteria when he comes home. He hasn't forgot where he's come from. That's the good old boy storyline for most of those guys. But what has he done politically to help the people of South Carolina and be elected over and over and over again? Nothing. Now,
Harry Tubman said we can't save all of them. So I'm saying people who keep voting for him, they getting what they deserve. They can keep eating them same little oat wheats or whatever they eat. We can't save everybody. So them same people who bury their head and act like boo-hoo crying over him. What you crying for? Tim Scott's Tim Scott's of the world. I know I'm being recorded, and I hope you listen to this. Talking about he was a good man. He was my friend. It's very rare you have anybody who can be your friend. Seriously? Seriously? All I saw when I saw Tim Scott was buckwheat.
Well,
And I know that I am supposed to be better than this, but I'm not. God's still working with me. My halo is
yes.
not round, it's oval. It's
Okay.
tilted a little bit. It fell off a couple times this weekend. God's still working with me. My
I haven't
halo
heard buckwheat in a long time, but I can see
I'm
it's
still wearing my halo, but
yes,
yeah,
I hear you, sis. I
he's
hear
not
you.
round.
Tell him.
Anytime, listen, we no longer, I know, sister, you want to say something. I just want to say this. Listen, we no longer have a political disagreement. We have a moral disagreement. I know when you are focused on eliminating me and people who look like me and people who are of the same ilk as me, I no longer view it. My daughter and I talked about this. I no longer view it from a political lens. I view it from a humanity lens. That's why I have this in the background behind me. So my view is different. No, this is not a political discussion anymore. No. And anybody who sides with people who want to, who says things about eliminating an entire country of people and thinks that is, it's just passing talk and that it's funny in some way. Yeah. No longer interested in trying to have whatever positive discourse or whatever they want to try and make that. Yeah, no. It's not funny. Your jokes, just not funny. So, yeah. God gonna have to keep working with me on that one.
You're not the only one, sis. You know, when I heard somebody say this country with a 500-year history of Persian contributions to the world can eliminate them. I said, you have lost your little bit of mind you have in your head. How dare you even think that these people are going to bow down to you?
Thank you.
You should open up a history book sometime and read before you say anything.
Thank you.
Amatullah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
No, that I've been thinking about this, and I'll tell you what made me think about it was a prominent imam made a comment, and I think it was on X, um, or maybe Facebook. I don't remember. I think someone forwarded to me, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my initial response was, "Ooh, I wish he hadn't said that." And the reason because I think that when people have uh, a position of, like you said, influence, I think you have to be very, very careful what you say about incidents and other individuals who have influence. And I'm not always good at that. I let my emotions or personal feelings kind of come out sometime. But and so that caused me to go to try and question myself of why do you think that? And I remembered I saw a video and I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. And the brother was talking about recklessness and risk assessment in terms of politicians have to be good at doing that. And he was dealing with facts and opinions and whatnot. Now, and then I thought about there was a I don't think it's I don't I'm not sure if it's a hadith or someone or from the seerah of the prophet where a funeral procession went by and the prophet stood up and the people said, "Well, why are you standing up? You know that's not a believer, that's not a Muslim, blah, blah, blah." And so he said, that's a human being.
Mm-hmm.
That's a human being. And that's why he stood up, because that's a human being. So that made me think of another, this is a hadith, not word for word, but it talks about, well, actually, there are two. But this was the first one that came to my mind was this person, he was so holy and, so observant and whatnot. And he got so close to the end of his life and to paradise. And then at the last second, let's say, remember, this is just a paraphrasing of my understanding of the hadith, not word for word. And disbelief entered, and so his destination was hell. There was another person who was just so evil and so corrupt, and he went all the way up to the last section of his life, and he repented, and he went to paradise. Okay, so what did that make me think of? That made me think of, in terms of judging the final outcome of a person, none of us know. We can look at the work that they did while they were alive, and we can be critical of that behavior, but we never know what Allah's judgment is going to be for any of us. And so I think that's why I feel a little uneasy about what we say in terms of judging the person, what their final outcome will be. That's way above our pay grade. That's Allah and Allah's only um, right to do that. So that's all I'll say of it, because it's a delicate situation. It's a delicate situation. But
Yes,
I
it
but I
is.
will
It
say
is.
my initial reaction was when I saw the headline, I was like, "Ooh, Allah is working on these folks." And so that was my initial response. And then, so I think that if anything, it shows us, and it should be a reminder to people of a certain ilk who think that because they have a certain position, they have all the power. You don't have the power to do anything because at
Now,
any moment, Allah can sniff you out.
yeah.
So that's the way I take the situation. And inshallah, you know, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yes, we
I
think a
agree
lot.
with you wholeheartedly. He's still working on me though.
Yeah, he's working on all of us.
Yes,
Still working on me though. I
Working on
still.
all of us.
So my initial reaction was the same as yours. It just still is my reaction. I just haven't gotten over my initial
You
reaction.
haven't gotten over you.
It's taking me longer. You got over your initial faster than me. It's taking me a little bit longer.
Let me say
It
this for
was
some. Oh, I'm
because
sorry.
as soon as they announced that they were bombing Iran. So I said, oh yeah, it's gonna take me a little while. Because they were bragging about bombing Iran,
Right,
right?
right.
Right, like right afterwards. And I'm
But
like,
that's because they're
okay,
so they're afraid, because it's like, so you walking in the street, you're not really paying attention, and you step in something. You say, "Ooh, what you just stepped in." Then you got to clean up your shoe, right? So
or throw a shoe away.
or throw the shoe away. So um, Hegseth, and I'll say their names, Hegseth and Trump, they were so, um, Mr. Macho Man, and we gonna do this, and we gonna do that, and we gonna do the other. Uh-uh. Go ahead and talk all you want. Iran wasn't saying anything. They got defeated. They don't want to admit that that country that they talked about, they got defeated. And the thing that was so hurtful was that they were tricked by Netanyahu to go ahead and do what they did. And so now it's like, how do they try to save face? And that's what that's all about, trying to save face. The brother who is Khamenei's son,
Khomeini,
um,
Khomeini.
Khamenei's son, he made a statement, or it may have come through the prime minister, one of the highest ranking officials, was saying in response to all of this, war talk and blah 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 blah. We gonna do this, we gonna do that. Um, he was just one word that he just kept on talking about was the Iranian leader was saying, revenge. We're
Yeah,
gonna get revenge. We are going to get revenge. He said
he
about
sure
three or
did.
four times in that particular statement.
He
And
did.
what is the result? On the news, they were talking about, oh, he's building up fences, or they showed a diagram of how he was trying to fence off so many streets around the White House, and he wanted to put up drone detectors on the White House and whatnot. You wouldn't have to go through that if you hadn't opened your mouth talking a whole lot of trash. I mean, when I was coming up, we used to say, when you sell a wolf ticket, you better be able to come through with that wolf ticket. And Allah, I believe, is showing them that you can say you can bomb whoever you want, or you want to kill whoever you want, but Allah is the one that gives death and life
True.
and resurrection.
True.
Mm.
Now, on a separate note, flip
Mhm.
that around. I do want to announce some other sad news. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm not sure if any of you got the message, but it just came through as we were talking that Imam Shakir in Winston-Salem just
Yeah,
passed.
yeah, I just got that too. I was going to say
Brother Fleming,
Irvin Shakir,
Urban
yes,
Shakir,
yeah.
just passed
Winston
away.
Salem.
We just got that, so
Believe it
we
or
should
not, I
make a
was
special dua before we
for
close
him.
out.
Yes,
I was on his porch talking to him last week, literally, because
mashallah.
he was the minister here for about 25 years. I'll give you a 30 sec, no, 10 seconds.
Take all the
He was,
time
he
you
was,
need.
he was 19 years of age when the minister of this location we thought was killed. It turned out they did an investigation. It was domestic dispute. His wife shot him and killed him, okay? But there was a $25,000 reward in Muhammad Speaks newspaper to come up with evidence of who killed this minister. Minister Lewis was his name. So Irvin at that time, Minister Irvin Shakir, he was a 19-year-old kid. He had become part of the community then. Dr. Shabazz came down from Washington, D.C. to try to help the brothers organize. Who's
Was
going
that
to take
Lonnie Shabbat?
Shabazz, like Alana Shabazz? So he came down, the community got together. They asked two or three people who would step up. You know how we were organized then. It was minister, treasurer, captain. No one stepped up. And then the captain said, this young brother here speaks very well. Brother Irvin, he's 19.
Interesting.
And so he took the position.
Alhamdulillah.
He got a letter from Honorable Elijah Muhammad saying, brother, hold your post until I send someone to replace you. 25 years later, he was still there. Now,
Alhamdulillah.
he established Muhammad University of Al-Islam, a K through 12 program. He was director of education. Even though he did not get a quote formal education, he got a high school degree. But he graduated kids who came in the program at 4 years of age, had a fantastic reading program that Dr. Boss helped organize. When those kids came at 4, they were reading at 5. Most of them graduated from that university at 15 years of age. They went to A&T, Central Carolina, WSSU. A lot of your HBCUs in North Carolina took those kids in. They were fantastic students, okay? So this brother we used to kid it, he had 5 kids too. And he and I would joke because I had 5, right? And one of his kids returned to Allah from crib death. And we had one child, my third child, only lived 6 hours. She had Cornelia-de-Lange syndrome. We had a connection with our hearts behind that similar experience. I always called him, I had a nickname for him. Let me get it together here. He always said I meant father because my father and I were not very, very close. We became close as I get to be an older person. Oh boy, I can't think of it now. But he was dedicated, a father figure. He loved his grandchildren. He used to run from his house over to Atkins. He was a good athlete too. That was about a 10-mile run that he did on a regular basis. Solid brother. I've got to go by. He doesn't live too far from me. I'm going to go by the house after I finish this program. Let his wife, Sister Mabel, know that I'm here if they need anything. But may Allah, if I could do this with the permission of the group, oh Allah, we ask for your mercy and grace, strength and comfort for the family of Imam Reverend Shakir, his beloved family, the believers, and all those who knew him. I mean. Okay. All right, I got to pause for a second. Y'all forgive your brother here. It's just. He was very important to my life. Okay. I was 13 when I first came to the masjid, and he was a minister then. So you can imagine what kind of influence he had on my life. He was the one that told me to go to the Nation of Islam and help the message of the nation as I came out of college, to Cornell College. And very influential man in my life. All right.
We pray for his family and the believers there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank God I was able to interview him. I'm writing a book called The Birth of Al-Islam in Winston-Salem. He's the first one I interviewed. I have him on tape.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Put pen to paper. That's going to give me more motivation to get that done sooner than later. You know? All right, then. Allah's the best knower. Allah's the best knower. Allah's the best. I mean. I'm sure they're sending me some stuff. I try to cut my phone off when I'm on this program because I know. Well, I'll just leave it off.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, listen, we thank everybody for participating today. Let's keep those who've returned to Allah in our prayers, make dua for the families, even those who are sick and struggling with their health. And let's be appreciative of each other. And, the old saying said, to really be a true Muslim, if I have a bowl of soup, you have half of it. You should want for your brother, your sister, what you want for yourself. And mean that from the heart. Not lip service, but actually mean it. And practice with each other, inshallah. Right? Inshallah.
So next week, Imam Muhammad Abdullah Ling will be our guest, continuing with his Quranic foundations for Muslim American citizenship, inshallah. We look forward to that. You're on mute, Brother Fleming. Somehow you got on mute.
Here we go. You had a motorcycle kid coming through the neighborhood. I had to cut it off. So we went to the program. Okay. All right, then. So we're at the end of our program, another MAP5 production here on July 13th, 2026. We got to hear from our sage, through the voice of her grandmother, Dr. Cheryl Sudduth, and then I will close us out with prayer, inshallah. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just remember I wrote it down, but I didn't look at it. Tomorrow, July 14th, Tuesday, our brother Mujahid, also known as Larry Green, will be going before the California Parole Board. He is the brother who has been incarcerated for, really, he's been arrested under detention for the last 52 years. And he's been denied parole several times because he has stuck to his claim that he did not do the murder that he was accused of. And his conviction was based upon circumstantial evidence and a confirmed criminal informant who got $30,000 for, as which was offered as a reward at that time. So anyway, this, the people will remember to remember him in your dua as he goes before the board tomorrow. And we know that whatever the outcome, Allah is in charge, but we do want to remember him and his family. Sister Cheryl, that's it for me.
Thank you. You know, I was sitting here listening to Brother Fleming, and prior to that, to what you said, Sister Amatullah, so I'm reminded, that's a funny word, sage advice. My grandmother, it's a funny word, it's a true word, but it's a funny word. And I was thinking about this because I'm thinking about my mother's reunion is coming up. We always do this tribute to the people who have passed away, you know, over the last 2 years. And she has this thing she used to say about love me while I'm living, right? Love me while I can still smell the flowers. No matter what is happening, you know, we can talk all we want to about, oh, the soul may have left the body and all of that, but no matter how sweet those flowers smell, I can't smell them. I can't smell them. Once that soul left that body, no matter how sweet that aroma in there, you can't smell it. So, but she used to say this one thing, and it stayed on my spirit for a long time. And I think it's a Southern saying, so if some of you have heard it before, you probably know it. It's why the flowers get delivered faster to a funeral home than love gets delivered to people living. Time moves way too fast, you all. People are getting older. People live far apart, so distance happens, life happens, and hurt and harm happens. And a lot of us are sitting around lifing. And the strongest of us sometimes hurt in silence, because that's what we've been taught to do. So if nothing else, I just saw you, Brother Fleming. You cracked just a centimeter and you pulled it together. Because that's what you've been taught to do. So here's a reminder, people. Love people while they're still here. Call somebody you miss. Hug your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your spouse, your children. And if you already hug them a little tighter. Check on that strong friend who always says when you ask him, how they doing? He always says, I'm good. Ask him again. And this time say, no, how you really doing? And then this time, listen for the answer. Listen for the answer. It's a lot of people cracking behind forced smiles, clean houses, and folded laundry. I'm talking to you women.
I'm talking to you, men who trying to keep it together because somebody told you it wasn't okay to cry. Because you know what? There's too many flowers that get given after people say goodbye. So a lot of people in graves never got to hear those cheers or see those tears. Don't leave room for regret. All the healing and the loyalty and your sense of family and the pain you might feel after they leave and the faith you express and the words you waited too long to say, all of that is lost on us. Because as much as we say, well, they can hear you and they can feel you. Don't let it be too late. My grandmother used to say, people who be hollering at the funerals, they Christian, you know. She used to say, did you call that person when they were lonely? Did you visit them when they needed company? Did you say I love you when there was still time to hear it? Because one day, you're going to find out that somebody's going to answer for the last time and nobody knows when that day is coming. So don't keep spending your life chasing daylight and working from sun up to sundown, missing birthdays and holidays and all of that. All of that, we got to do what we got to do. Call or check on your people. Call and check on your people and love them while they live and tell your daughters that they're beautiful. Tell your wife that you love them. Tell your husband that you love them. Tell them you're proud of them. And love them while they're living. Don't collect views, but collect some feelings. And with that, I say to you, I appreciate you all. I don't even know everybody that's going to be seeing this later, but I hope if what we say today makes you think about whoever it is you think about, because I know that whatever I just said made you think about that one person that you've been meaning to call, that you've had in the back of your head, I should call, I forgot. You know what? I mean to call that person, tell them something. Do it. Don't let regret get the best of you. Don't let a grudge get the best of you. Just pick up the phone and make the call. It's all about perspective. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Stay prayerful. Stay powerful. Stay philanthropic. Stay politically engaged. Remember, we don't write the story, but we have the ability to live it to the best of our ability. Thank you for participating in MAP5 this week. Crown you wear. Just a little bit. Sometimes tilted. It's kind of heavy too. Trust me. But while your heart still beats today, and while you can hear the laughter, hear the words, share that. And make sure the people that you know how you feel about them. Appreciative. Until next week, we will see you at 1 p.m. on that coast where the weather is as unseemly as the time that you have to get up. At noon, where we have to interrupt your lunch.
Oh, man.
And at 10 a.m., at the most respectable hour, on the great West Coast where the sun is shining and the air sweeps your face like a cool morning breeze.
Cool breeze.
Ooh.
Reminds you of George Benson. Just
Uh-oh.
breathe,
Uh-oh.
breeze, breeze, breeze. Best jazz festivals too. Just want to let you know. Just want to put that out there.
My favorite music. Jazz.
Inshallah. We'll see you back here next Monday. You got some homework to do. Sister Amatullah already told you. So inshallah, we will see you back here next Monday with another episode of Muslim American Power 5, MAP5, a production brought to you by AM360 and CWSC Community-Wide Sugar Conference. With that, sir, I'm going to turn it over to you to pray us out, and then I'll say my final 3 words.
Alhamdulillah. Listen, we always start the program off with our Fatiha, the opening chapter, those 7 powerful verses. You parallel that to the 7 openings you have in your head. You have 2 in your nose, 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. So life can come through all those 7 vehicles if you're listening, if you're paying attention. And we'll end with the last surah in the Holy Quran of Nas. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Hello, Surah bin Nas. Malikina. I'm sorry. I started off in Arabic. I'm going to say it in English. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord and cherisher of mankind, the King or ruler of mankind, the Allah, judge of mankind. Excuse me. From the evil whisper. I seek refuge from the evil whisper, the same who whispers into the hearts among men and jinn, then withdraws after his whisper. I mean, gotta go find my closet, y'all. Assalamu